more on this, let's bring in Georgia Congressman and member of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, Representative Andrew Clyde. The president holding that conference, sir. A lot of people felt like he had a lackluster performance in Georgia recently when he tried to get support for the voter legislation. What are your expectations or comments on what's going on now?
Oh, thank you, Bob and Heather, for having me. You know, the president's speech in Georgia was an abysmal failure, just like his administration has been. These last 12 months have been the worst 12 months, I think, in my lifetime for a president's first 12 months in office. I mean, I just wonder what he's going to talk about at 4 o'clock this afternoon. You know, what good thing is he going to talk about? What crisis that he created is he going to talk about? Is it going to be the economy where you have hyperinflation now, you know, where you have a labor shortage, where you have a supply chain shortage, a crisis there? Is it going to be the border security crisis where when you don't have a real border, then you don't have sovereignty in a nation because border security is national security? You know, what crisis is he going to talk about that he created? I mean, the education crisis, you know, the list goes on and on. There's probably at least, you know, 8 or 10 fingers that you can count the crises that he's created. Yeah. Even the world stage, there's a crisis there.
Yeah, several. And what he doesn't talk about, will he be questioned on? A lot of folks, you know, wondering exactly who will be asking the questions. Were they already chosen in advance? Are James Rosen supposedly one of those folks who gets to ask a question? We'll see if that happens. Let's take a look at this comparison, though, between the kind of questions that President Biden received during his first press conference versus former President Trump.
Mr. President, did you fire Mike Flynn?
One of the defining challenges you face in the coming months is how to deliver on your promise to Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change. All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill. How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
During your campaign, did anyone from your team communicate with members of the Russian government or Russian intelligence? And if so, what were the nature of those conversations?
You've said over and over again that immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors.
So you said today that you had the biggest electoral margin since Ronald Reagan with 304, 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365 in 2008. President Obama 332, and George H.W. Bush 426 when he won as president. So why should Americans trust him?
Thank you, Mr. President. To follow up on the filibuster, so do you believe it should take 60 votes to end a filibuster on legislation or 51?
Can you say definitively that nobody on your campaign had any contacts with the Russians during the campaign? And on the leaks, is it fake news or are these real leaks?
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President, Melania.
Pretty different there.
What a difference. Biden got all softball questions, and President Trump basically got knives thrown at him when it came to his questioning, whether it was Trump collusion, Russian collusion that they were accusing President Trump of, or you know, firing Mike Flynn, whatever. You know, the mainstream media just wants to protect Biden, and they want to destroy President Trump, and that's just the way they are right now. And it's sad for our country. It's not good for our country. We need the truth to be told. And that's why we need good conservative outlets, honestly.
You know, Congressman, the thing I've always felt, the difference between a Democrat and a Republican is a Democrat wants the government to solve all their problems. And a Republican wants the government to stay out of their business so they can solve their own problems. I wanted to get your comment on that idea.
Absolutely. That's called self-governance. That's what we as Republicans believe. We believe people have the right to govern themselves. We want government, as little government as possible involved in our lives. We don't want big government socialism. That's what the Democrats want. And that's what they're all about. Just like the Voting Rights Act that they're considering right now in the Senate, which I am very hopeful that that will fail, because that wants to take away voter ID. It wants to fund federal elections with taxpayer dollars. That's wrong. Those are just messages that the left media wants to bury, and they just want to claim that the Voting Rights Act is going to, you know, give people more rights when it comes to voting. That's wrong.
All right, fair enough. Congressman Andrew Clyde, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Heather.